listening to Radio Connections with Pace, where it all comes together with your host, Gina Pagnotta Murphy and Ebony Walton.
Hey, did y'all miss us? I missed you. Welcome to Radio Connections with Pace. I am your host, Gina Pagnotta Murphy, president of Pace Union.
And I am your co-host, Ebony Walton, vice president of Pace.
And
this show,
clear your throat now, get it together.
And this show is for City of Atlanta employees, whether new or seasoned, classified or non, on-site or teleworkers. This platform was created to bring awareness to all things in the city, whether good or bad, in hopes to find or resolve.
Let's talk about it.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
Been a minute.
So you should have already memorized that part by now.
Why? Because you memorized yours?
Uh-huh.
You had 2 lines. I got a whole bunch of other stuff. How you gonna ask me to memorize that?
Anyway, let me give a disclaimer again. Even though we have a long one in the front, but it may go too fast for some of you that be checking us out, you know. Anyway, all that we talk about on this podcast, any views or discussions, allegedly, and we will make sure it's factual, or we will tell you allegedly, are not expressly the views and facts of all of our members in this podcast and our membership, and the views of the city of Atlanta, nor the views of our national and international office. So we are disclaiming that if we say anything that we know is factual, we're going to tell you, give you the fact. And if it's allegedly, we're going to say allegedly. How about that?
Or allegedly. Depending on what's the sentence. Does it matter? No? I'll just ask him.
It was a disclaimer. Okay, so what we got going on, producer?
You never follow the prompts.
That's
After you say, I'm going to come over here early so
I
we
did.
can discuss. And I said, what? For what? It doesn't matter.
Did I come early?
Because the prompts are there.
Oh, didn't I come early? I was real
Somebody's
early.
calling, huh?
Anyway, so
Hello.
anyway, the movie. What are we doing?
Let me give you a call back. I'm a little busy.
What are we doing?
Okay.
What are we doing?
Okay. I thought that was something else. Something was going on with the show. Anything could be.
Yes, well, I don't see you. Oh, my goodness.
Here it is right here.
No, we got to greet one another. Hi, Ebony. How was your week?
It was good. How was yours?
What did I do? I went out of town. Oh,
yeah, you did. You went to the convention. How was that?
No, it was just a executive board meeting for the national.
Okay.
Because I'm a vice president, one of the vice presidents, 15 of us
Mm-hmm.
on that. And I had to go to Florida. Let me tell you, I was totally scary. That stuff is still out there.
It is.
But you know, I took care of me the best way I could take care of me. Can't worry about nobody else. I took care of me. And I did as such. And so hey, I had a good time though, really.
Any news to share?
Well, I did find out, and we shared that later because I have my little notes on that. But I did find out some ways that we need to recruit, come up with our plan for the year for our future goals and mission on increasing our membership according to whatever the total is that we need to look at doing 30%. You know, so that means, you know, at least minimum 30% of your total count of membership per year. And so we have to reach out and see how we're going to do that, engage, because all of us are not back in yet. And so we'll talk about that either too, because I had to send out a question about how do we be able to reach our members or our community of interest that the city puts in the code to say that we can recruit when we don't have the resources that the city in our MOU say they're supposed to give us. But we'll talk about that a little later. How was your week?
It was pretty good. I was off work the majority of past week, but we had our telecommunications week.
Okay.
And that was nice. I was there just those 2, I think I was there 2 days. I went 2 days. We had mismatch day where you can dress up.
I saw your little flaky picture.
Okay, it's okay.
It was mismatch for real.
It was really mismatch. Every time anybody looked at it, they just
that was out of your comfort zone.
It was.
But you did, you played the role.
I did.
And I understand that you did some celebration with them, made them some cups, made them some buttons. And
For my team.
for
So
your
we
team,
have
t-shirts.
Yes.
Wow.
I did some t-shirts and some mugs for them, which was really nice.
And I like the pins that you did.
Oh yeah.
Just show the pins. So we can so our members can start wearing some of these pins. Look, here's one if you can see.
And that's what this t-shirt
this
looks
is
like.
the E911.
That's what the t-shirt.
And the t-shirt looked like.
Pull it back.
Pull it back a little
Let's
bit. See it. And
know.
yeah, that was pretty cool. And then you did the buttons we have for PACE members. Look at there. Isn't that cool?
No, you can see that one really good.
See, put it together. Ding, 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 ding. Anyway.
So they can put them on their little names. I do buttons every year. I've been doing it for the past 3 years.
And that's a good thing to do that because you got to be proud to be in your union. And to be honest with you, people kind of, majority of what you think, contrary, that people respect PACE. And for you to be a member of PACE and you are recognizing yourself by wearing your button, I kind of tell you, they might be a little bit more respectful to you because they don't call the bulldog. Don't call the bulldog as they call me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the movie of the week is, you're going to like this.
What is it?
Sonic the Hedgehog 2. That's what I did. I like that. I'm telling you, I like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, my daughters set up the whole family to go to see this movie. Unbeknownst to me, they just said, be at this place in Fayetteville, Georgia. Why are you sending me way to Fayetteville, Georgia? And I live in Lithonia. Really? So I go way out there to Fayetteville, Georgia to this movie theater. Let me tell you, I'm going back. I like it. It was clean, security. I mean, they did social distancing. He rented out the whole, my ex-son-in-law, rented out the whole row, because you do reserved seatings. And we had the whole row to ourselves, and the seats recline back. Now, I'm not talking about just like some movies have the seats recline back. This, the whole seat, the feet and the back. I was like, went to sleep. But anyway, then they bring you all your food you can order online, and they bring it to you like in these bags, like like the Uber Eats and stuff, and they bring it to you. It was nice, but the movie was pleasantly, surprisingly great. So hey, want to take your family out, your children out? We did that for Easter. Go see Sonic the Hedgehog 2. But I'm also waiting on the other one to come out, Doctor Strange and the Marvel people. So anyway, I'm fanatic with that. But anyway.
Yes. So what's the inspiration for today?
He knows not his own strength who hath not met adversity. William Samuel Johnson. Let's say that again. He knows not his own strength who hath not met adversity. What does that mean to you? Because I think I'm feeling something with that.
Really? Good or bad? I mean, yeah.
I don't know. He knows not his own strength.
You don't know your own strength unless you've been put up against the wall. That's when your strength comes out. When you're challenged. And now your strength has to come out depending on whatever type it is.
So I didn't know my whole strength when that last meeting when I got so challenged that I had to.
No, you knew your strength because you was brought up to the challenge. So what did you do?
Walk out the room.
You did that. You walked out the room.
To take a
breather.
Woosah.
Yeah.
So I can stay professional.
But if you don't know how you're gonna react to certain things, it's because you've never been challenged. But you're challenged all the time.
I'm challenged.
Either you're challenged or you're challenging.
I don't know why I get challenges. Why
do you
challenge me? Why?
Are you challenged?
By now. Challenge this morning.
I
was challenged this morning. Wake up to challenges. Go to bed to challenges.
That's it.
People, I'm not trying to fight everybody. Let's just be real with each other. Okay.
Is that what it is?
Just be transparent.
Okay.
And work together with this union. We're an elite organization.
Which we had a good meeting yesterday. That was really
absolutely.
Cool,
we'll talk about that. We're gonna get some shout outs. Okay.
So the song for the week is I woke up with it. I played it this morning. I was listening on YouTube, and then this song came on. I was like, oh, I gotta play this today. So I'm gonna take you out of church.
Oh, Sister Odell, going to church.
Edwin's gonna help me with this story. Take your time, sister. Sing it for somebody.
Mm-mm.
Deliver me.
I might have to sing that in church already.
All I seem to do is hurt me.
We don't own the rights to this music.
No,
Think about that hurts you. Hurt me.
This next week.
Hurt me.
Now let's take it up. Cry out. Say.
Come on now. Come on now.
No. She's going there. She's going there.
Yes, she did.
Take your time.
You guys, listen to this
Please
song.
listen to that song.
Pull it up on YouTube.
This is your Exodus.
Yep.
Yeah, it is good.
Now we gotta cut it out. Might get sued. I ain't got no money. I'm like Tasha. I ain't got no money.
So that was the song. That thing, when I heard, I was walking on the treadmill.
So you did at the car wash. Oh, okay.
No, not today.
Okay.
This was a different day.
All
So,
right. She trying to be serious.
a little bit. I can't, with you, it's hard. I try to, but it's really, really hard. It's,
Working in at the car wash, yeah.
Okay.
Car wash.
Okay. So, today is April 19th. It is
What's that?
National Amaretto Day. Amaretto Day is it's a liquor, like the Amaretto sour.
What are you talking about, liquor?
Today is April 19th. Is Amaretto Day. It's known for the flavor and the aroma, and it's a really good drink for those that drink. Today is also National Garlic Day. Each year.
Is that why I smelled garlic when I came in?
I didn't cook with garlic today.
Okay. But you were saying
It's a vegetable known as the stinking rose, fragrant and potent.
The fragrant and potent root has been seasoning dishes for thousands of years.
Yes, it's very good. I love garlic in everything. I put it in everything.
Homemade.
Except the salad you had today. Well, no garlic in the salad. But next time I'm gonna put some garlic on this salad.
It tastes like it was in the fish.
Of course, it was in the fish.
It was in the fish?
Yeah, I cooked with it. I didn't put it on the salad.
Didn't I just tell y'all?
It wasn't like that though. It wasn't like
Okay.
raw garlic. Also, today is National Hanging Out Day. What do you think it is? Before you look at the rest, what do you think National Hanging Out Day is?
Just hanging out partying at the car wash, yeah.
No.
Hanging
up your clothes outside. Remember
please.
You remember when you was little? You hang them up, go outside, you put your blankets and sheets up, you have to go help your mom and stuff. But the sun, when it hit those sheets and the clothes, it smells so good.
Not the way it smells, not like with
not now. Not.
I like Gain and Gain dry shit. Don't let me know outside hanging out.
But it's good. It's financially being responsible because you're not putting money into you. You don't have to use your stuff in the house or go to a laundromat, and it's environmentally safe.
Oh, you might as well get that old washing machine in and run the clothes through the little roller.
Tell your age.
Oh.
I don't know anything about that.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. Also, today is National Oklahoma City Bombing.
Oh, that's a little sad.
Yes. So I'm not even going to try all those M's. You can't.
Commemoration.
Okay. So it's in memory of those that were killed in the Oklahoma City bombing.
So let's give a little moment of silence for that, please. Bow your head. Okay.
Did you know?
Okay. Did I know?
In Atlanta.
Okay, here we go. Here we go, people.
In Atlanta, you cannot tie a giraffe to a pole or street lamp.
I'm done.
Did you know that? That was a law in Atlanta.
You got to be kidding me. You cannot tie a giraffe to a pole or street lamp.
No.
First of all, where's the giraffe coming from?
Probably the zoo. I don't know.
Who owns a giraffe? This ain't Michael Jackson's show.
I don't know. Maybe somebody
Oh my
walking
God.
downtown or something.
Is that still on the books? We need to get with Mayor Andre Dickens. They need to get that up out of there.
It's out there. It's somewhere. So those of you did you know?
Wait a minute though.
What?
Now, who were they saying for giraffes. Let's do like they do in prison. Shout out to all the people in prison. All you folks that listen to how they say, you know how they go in. Who is the giraffe? So you telling me that the man is calling certain people giraffes? So you can't tie them up to the
Let's move along. We are going to start that today.
Okay.
Remember to complete your ethics training by May 2nd.
Absolutely. Please do, or they're going to fine you.
Yes.
Okay. Kudos.
We want to give a shout out, kudos, thank you, to Mr. Councilman Amos.
Oh, yes.
He wrote on his Twitter and his Instagram account.
Oh, yeah. That
Remember?
Yes. Thank you.
That was really nice. He wrote, it's
Pray
important.
tell. What did he say?
I don't want to talk. What? I'm trying. I'm gonna tell you.
Okay.
Go ahead, you tell me.
I don't want to.
Go ahead,
No.
read it.
Nah. I'm still on a giraffe.
So he wrote that it's important to recognize NPSTW, which means National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, and all the folks we call when we're in need of public safety services. Your dedication and hard work by all communications operators throughout Atlanta is extremely vital to our safety, to the safety of our city. To Pace and all our operators, thank you all.
Hey, shout out to Pace. How about that?
He did.
Woo!
He did.
Kudos. Thank you, Councilman Amos. And that's a person that really understands the viability of the union and Pace and how we can work together in solidarity to bring what we need to bring
Yes.
to our employees.
Also,
We had a meeting with Department of Watershed Jennifer Hicks and Donald Williams, who was also there. I think he's the assistant commissioner to Commissioner Browning, who was unavailable to be there. But because she was not there, didn't mean that she stopped that meeting that we have standing meeting. And they really are working with us. And so all of the projects that we have been working on are seemingly been handled, met our deadlines and our agreements. All the employees that we addressed and helped are happy on both ends. And they're also going to be looking into some other issues that we brought to their attention.
Yes.
So we are hoping that other departments, and Public Works is pretty good too with that, Commissioner Wiggins. And we hope that other departments will come on board and continue to work with us in that.
It was very nice.
Yes, it was. Okay.
So now,
Right.
this is the moment.
The moment of what we've been waiting for. All of the text alerts and all of the chat-ins that everyone is saying, he has such a diabolical
Who is he?
voice.
Who is he?
Oh, wow. Where did you get him from?
He's a real radio guy. Where is he?
Where's his radio station?
We got
he's got it going on. What do we need? How do we meet him? Can we get his autograph? Where did you all
Can he
find
do a
him?
shout out for me, please?
Oh, yes. Shout out, baby.
That's what they asked
It's time to hear some words of wisdom as he shared his tidbits on Women's History Month.
Even though it is no longer Women's History Month, it's
Still
Women's
is.
History Year.
All the way around.
Yes.
And is the motivational, the articulate, diabolical, amazing, our friend Spencer Cross. Now. Woo! Way to go.
Yeah. What's going on, y'all? What's happening with you? Hey, listen, y'all. I don't know if y'all can hear me or not because I can't hear you right now, but I need to know about this whole giraffe thing because I'm tripping. What in the world? You mean to tell me I can't carry my giraffe out there and tie him up to a light pole or something other? My God.
Move that pole or take it down.
My God.
Well,
this is something else. I can't hear you on this side, but listen, this is what I'm going to do. Long as y'all can hear me, we good, right? Good deal. Hey, listen, we're going to continue this whole thing about the women and, the whole year that we're celebrating the women. And today, y'all, I want to talk a little bit about Margaret E. Bailey. She was a United States Army Nurse Corps Colonel. My God, she served in the Corps for 27 years from July 1944 to July 1971, 9 of which she served in France, Germany, and Japan. During her career, Bailey advanced from a second lieutenant to colonel, the highest achievable military rank in the nurse corps. She set several landmarks for black nurses in the U.S. military, becoming the first black lieutenant colonel in 1964, the first black chief nurse in a mixed, non-segregated unit in 1966, and the first black full colonel in 1967. Now check this out, y'all. During World War II, Bailey treated German prisoners of war. In the later years of her military career, she actively worked with minority organizations and advocated to increase black participation in the Corps. After her retirement from the Army, she served as a consultant to the Surgeon General in the Nixon administration, working to increase the number of minorities in the nurse corps. For many years, y'all, she made speeches supporting equal participation in United States Army across the United States. Y'all, this lady was bad. You understand what I'm saying? Hey, listen, y'all, I want to thank you so much. And Ebony, happy belated birthday to you. You doing your thing. And Gina, I'm glad to have you back. Hey, listen, y'all, I just want to let you know, before I get out of here, y'all know I always say thank you so much for your time this time. And until the next time, I hope it's better than the last. And as my dad would always say, you're never out of business when you mind your own. But before I go, I just want to let you know that great minds talk about ideas. Average minds talk about events, and small minds talk about people. This your boy, Paul. I'm going to get out of here. Peace.
That's fantastic.
Wow, we should quote. That's the quote. We should write that down.
Write it down.
Write it down. Use it. I don't know why he couldn't hear his producer.
Probably because he was, I don't know.
Nah,
But we heard him. He can hear us when he's back on his side.
Hey, we do need to follow up about that giraffe. I want to find that law.
It's
Where are you getting this stuff from?
offline. Search online. You just search online for stuff. You search all. It just depends on what.
Is that allegedly or
No,
is that factual?
It's a law. Look it up.
Yeah,
Talk to
but
your phone and
remember,
tell
for
it to look it up.
disclaimer now, we have to say allegedly or factual.
If you look it up in your crazy
Okay.
laws in Georgia, that's one of them. Just like the
Wow.
donkey in the tub.
We got to figure out. I
But the
just
donkey
want
in
to
the
know.
tub was because somebody literally had a donkey.
Yeah,
in the
but
tub.
I want to know what's
So, yeah.
behind the giraffe.
I don't know, but that's what they said. That's what the law said out on in the land of craziest laws.
Enjoy.
So again, you guys, we having the finance exec meeting April 27th, and that's when they're going to discuss
At 1 p.m.
at 1 p.m. That's where they're going to discuss reviewing the City of Atlanta ordinance and policies procedures concerning protective measures that are in place for employees who work in hostile environments and for discriminatory and other purposes. Also, Commissioner Norman has advised that they're going to develop a mandatory training module through Atlanta Cloud for all supervisors of classified employees to ensure adherence to the requirements of the resolution of employee grievances as established in the code 114.516. That's in the city muni codes. You can look that up on the City of Atlanta website page and just go up. You can type in City of Atlanta muni code, and it'll give you all the codes and everything for the City of Atlanta. You want to say something? You got something to say?
Whew, you made me tired because you just ran through that like a.
Did I say it too fast?
Yeah.
Because you said I talk fast. Was
Yeah.
it too fast?
Yeah.
Did you
So
understand
let
what
me
I'm
recap.
saying?
Can I recap a little bit?
Sure, because that's what you want to
Okay,
do.
I want to recap.
Recap.
Okay. A Department of HR is going to ensure the forms will be accessible to all classified employees electronically through internet. Commissioner Norman states that they have had the opportunity to review resolutions and started preparation for the training module, and will ensure to get out to the frontline facilities for training and clarity we should be done within 60 days. So the bottom line is, Pace reached out and said that we need to be consistent, number one,
Yes.
and to have grievance ability to forms that's electronic, because people are out versus the old way that you got to be in there, looking like this right here, this form here, but it would be still bona fide, but it'd be electronic, due to COVID and stuff. And I think it should be admirable that way. Anyway, consistent. And for whistleblowers protection, that there is a law,
Yes.
but we need legislation that makes it a rule that if
Within
you
the
report within the city of
Mhm.
Atlanta to be more stringent, that if you report anything and it's found it to be true or
Mhm.
whatever, and you're retaliated for doing that, you would be dealt with and not nicely. Because that is a federal law.
Yes. And we're
Allegedly.
gonna discuss how to file an actual grievance in a little bit.
Mhm.
But we also 2 weeks ago, we were supposed to have our friend, Mr. Lawson, Jason Lawson from Troup County, which is on to discuss these bills that pass through the state.
Mhm.
And one of them is, it's 3 different bills, and they're for public safety and E911, 911 telecommunicators.
Right.
So those are good things because we've been talking to him about this for
For a while.
some months. So I'm gonna read, he broke it down. The bill provides immunity to peace officers. This is the bill for behavior and peace officer bill. Coast Responder Act. And it provides immunity to peace officers and behavior health officers. Am I going too fast?
No, go ahead.
From any criminal or civil liabilities, from any damages that occur during transport of the patient to a physician or facility.
Mm.
It also requires each community service board to establish a co-responder program to assist law enforcement officers with special behavior health cases, and to retain a list of all law enforcement agencies who respond to emergency calls. As an important note, CSB, which is Community Service Board, can also review publicly available arrest and incarceration records to determine if an inmate would be better served in a behavioral health center rather than in a jail. So that's one of the bills.
That's
that
a
were
good
passed.
step here.
It is.
Rehabilitation.
It is. And then another one is called, what is this one called? It's Bill 505. It was passed to enact and amend. We're not going to say all of that.
Well, what is basically saying to receive
It's
high quality
POA.
training. And officers receive training in the delivery of high quality telephone, cardiopulmonary resuscitation to provide
CPR.
training, CPR,
all of that.
and to provide training requirements, to provide for compliance reviews, to provide for the establishment of continuing education. And it's basically to let them know what this is about.
It's giving the 911, so when you call 911, eventually they're going to, because right now when 911 gets a call and you need to do CPR or something, they connect that line to an EMS service, Grady line or something. Well, now they're going to be trained to actually do this stuff themselves, which will save time and save more lives. Is
that what we see on TV? Is that what they do? They do that on TV.
They do what on TV?
You know, do that.
They do. And some other
TV
agencies do that, but not all agencies do it.
So they be lying on TV?
No, it's
911.
Who believes in TV?
You see that movie 911? You don't watch that?
I live 911. What I want to watch it for? That's not even the real 911.
Oh, okay.
You can't believe everything you watch on TV?
Oh, okay.
I try to. But then it's another one that 911 peace officers will also be able to be a part of. It's a retirement bill that police officers are privy to. Now some of the 911 telecommunicators will actually have, you'll have a little bit in there, a stake in it. I think very small percent, but it's still a little, it's something. It's more, I think it equals out to 500 or something a month once you retire. So that's a good thing. That's a really, really, those are 3 good bills that I think.
So what about that $1,000?
We never got that email, did we?
What about that bill?
We never got it.
I'm just
We
saying.
had a meeting the other day. You want to talk about that?
I'm just saying.
You can talk about that because that was your friend.
That $1,000, where's that money at? We don't know yet. So let's just wait and see.
Yeah.
Maybe by next Tuesday, once they watch this podcast.
Because something was supposed to went out, but
Yeah. So we're not gonna say because I don't know facts.
I don't know.
Alleged,
Yeah.
so we just
we
wait
should be hearing something
and we'll let you all know.
because it's been a while.
And also, budget time is coming up,
Yes.
and you know the union pays. We always try to get the personnel papers when they get it ready, pretty much to the finance department,
Yes.
to see what the department's getting ready to try to do transparently or sneakily. And of course, we're going to be asking for money for raises when we go before council.
Mhm.
But we have to do our due diligence to make sure that we do our own little money thing and see what kind of monies we can ask for.
Mhm.
But we will be asking for a raise, whether or not we get it or not. But we will be asking for
Across the board,
Across
or we
the
want to
board.
ask for
Across the board, up
cost
until-
of living raise or what?
Well, the cost of living raise, that's something I think the mayor's office and then from the Fed or the state
Okay.
deal. But we want an internal raise up until grades 27, because that's who we represent. If it's not across the board, but at least grades 27 from our community of interest of the people in our union up to
Mhm.
grades 27 to get an increase in their salary. And then if we can't do it all together, we'll do some this year and then some next year. This year, we want, raise up to grade.
Didn't we talk about a while ago? This is a little off, but it's talking about with raises. When employees have to take extra classes, shouldn't that be included in some type of incentive?
Well, the city, and I'm not sure, and that's a good question. We can wrap that back around with Commissioner Norman of DHR, Commissioner of HR. Back in the day, we used to have a contract with Georgia State downtown or
Mhm.
school, and you would go and get permission to go to school.
Mhm.
And once you got your degree or whatever, a certificate or whatever, then you were supposed to get an increase in salary. But the thing was, the schooling was supposed to be into what you are doing. You can't
Okay.
just go out and say, okay, now I want to get a certified to be a E911 operator, hypothetically, but I'm
Yeah.
working in the trenches.
Yeah.
No, it had to be something of a
your field,
degree
that
in
you-
your field.
Okay.
And so we can circle back around and see if that's still educational benefits, because it's still in the civil service code that you can have up to a year to have education
Mhm.
or whatever, or leave of absence for certain things.
Mhm.
So we can still swing around and see
And
what
I
it
do
is.
know that Atlanta Metropolitan has teamed up with Atlanta.
Yeah, so you can go to Atlanta
Mhm.
Metro.
Mhm.
Mhm. So we'll let them, that's something we can put a pin in it, come back, talk about the 1,000 next week and $1,000 next week, and the check on the schooling,
Mhm.
if they still have that option. And I also used to like that program, what they called mentorship, that Mayor Franklin used to do. And I forget what the actual word is. Anybody out there in chat land can chat it in for us, but I forgot what they called it. But when I wanted to, you had to get it approved first. Say I wanted to become a mayor, and I could mirror, if it's approved, so many hours a week that I would go to the mayor's office and I'd be beside whomever to learn how that operation works, or something like that. I forget what they call it. It was a mentorship program, I believe it was, but it's some form of kind of cross training, so you can do your career ladder that you want to go in the city. When at one time we did have all of that, and we need to get back to that. We need to get a career ladder going for each position, each classification. Where do I go to the next step, and how do I get to that next step? What kind of training do I need? What kind of courses do I need?
Ooh, you just said a whole lot. Huh?
But it used to be that way.
Yeah, you did. So
You don't want to do it?
I'm just saying. I just had,
I want
went
to.
out and came back, and you still talking. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, because you was looking at your phone.
Yeah. So also,
You trying to
guys-
tell me shut up?
No, not at all. So
Ain't
since
nobody
we
putting baby
are,
in the corner.
we don't want to keep baby in the corner. There's no corner that can hold baby. Period. We know that. But since this is a union podcast, I'm glad she's in such a good mood.
Time of my
You better
life.
have it.
You can't keep baby in the corner. Okay, go ahead.
Since this is a podcast for union information, we got to start giving information on unions outside of our union.
What's going on out there?
What's in the world happening? So in union news in the world, we have a Jennifer Abruzzo, and I hope I'm saying her name right. She is the general counsel for National Labor on the National Labor Relations Board right now.
Mhm.
And she's saying as workers across the country try to unionize, many of them end up at these mandatory anti-union meetings hosted by management. They're called captive audience meetings. They're popular right now among bosses. Workers are typically subject to a significant number of captive audience meetings. Even if employers don't make illegal statements during these meetings, it does have a coercive impact. Workers don't feel they can leave, even though they have the right to refrain from listening to speech, just as much as they have the right to listen to it, because of the very real fear of retaliation. Abruzzo also said,
Excuse me.
Mark Kelly by Mark Mix, April 18th, 2022, she is one of the president's top labor appointees, Abruzzo is.
Mr. President
Yes.
Biden. Mhm.
So they want to protect the integrity of union elections by stopping workers from ever voting in them.
Right.
She was also Miss Abruzzo was a former communications worker of America Lawyer, who is now general counsel of NLRB, National Labor Relations Board. And she's been pushing to remake federal labor law by bureaucratic fiats. I'm telling you, it's heavy. She's already made headlines for her proposal to prosecute employer speech critical of unionization by repealing a 1948 National Labor Relations Board decision. Two thoughts I thought she had that were provoking. Two things she said. One thing she said was, what we really are trying to do is prevent that implicit threat, if not explicit, and the fear that inspires on these economically dependent employees, which I consider to be the epitome of coercion. This is what she said. I thought that was pretty deep. What you think?
And explain that so that the listeners can understand.
So instead of you saying to me, I don't want you to join a union, you have something that you're doing. In other words, why are you looking at me like that? Without you saying it, you're saying it, right? Having these meetings.
Subliminal.
Exactly. Doing all of these things without coming out straight, saying it explicitly. I don't want you to join union. You do subliminal messages, you retaliate, you pick on them, you do all these other things to kind of shy them away from joining unions.
Let's see if I can give an example.
You don't want to finish first?
No, I want to do an example of that one.
Give me an example.
So we have a meeting. It's considered mandatory.
It's mandatory meeting. 4 o'clock.
All of us have to
get off
come
at
in
5.
at 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know what this meeting is about.
Not at all.
But we get in the meeting. And I'm just saying hypothetically. Don't know if it's happening or not.
I got it.
And we get in the meeting.
Yeah.
I think you and I are on the same page.
We're on the same page.
And then management says, if you have any problems,
Mm-hmm.
bring it to me or bring it to us.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be able to help you. Mm-hmm. We're going to call ourselves a different type of name. Mm-hmm. Some type of task force, maybe, that we'll work it out and get the information you need. Mm-hmm. There's no need to take anything outside of our team or outside of our department. And, so even though we know, and I'm not telling you this, but even though we know that there's a union kind of being organized, but yet
we're going to try our own organization.
We're going to do our own thing. Just come to me.
Yeah.
Don't go to them.
Or I tell you what, we'll appoint some people.
Oh, yeah.
Let's appoint some people. And then if you have an issue, bring it to them, and then they'll bring it to us.
Yeah, and then we'll fix it. But we need to keep them other folks out of here.
That's what they do. That's what that means.
That's what that means.
Now,
not saying that's happening here.
Again, there's already pushback from business.
And it's a trip.
John Redmond, the vice president for labor policy at the right-leaning of U.S. Chamber of Commerce.
Labor policy now. Labor
policy. He wrote that if Abruzzo's proposal was accepted, it would deliberately muzzle employers and impede free speech.
Impede whose free speech? Employees or employers? What free speech? If you're transparent and you just buy in and vet in with your employees and make them think that you care for them a lot, you wouldn't have this problem. I think I told this story before, and I'm going to say it again. When I sing a little bit. I try to sing a little bit, and I had a gig, a show, about 50 minutes away. It was some kind of, I can't remember. Somewhere, no, a car place. It was a Zuzu or one of those places. Anyway, it's a Japanese home, and might have been Chinese. I don't know. Anyway, we went out there and met everybody. They treated us like gold, man. I mean, we had a wonderful presentation. They brought us in and put our name up. We were called PhD Jazz Band, and they had our name, had a big, all the employees was waiting on us like we were the president of the United States, lined up, had a cookout for everybody. I was feeling like I was somebody. And somehow they found out, don't know what it was, because they probably did their background checks. Yes. That I was a union labor leader. Did the dynamics change?
They changed on you, didn't
they? They pulled me to the side, and every attention was on me.
Oh, it was good.
It was good, but they were afraid that I had come secretly to unionize their organization. So they wanted to take me, not take me to where the rest of the band was going to get prepared later on at night for the show. They wanted to give me a personal tour of their plant. Oh. So I had the vice president there, and I had the management team. I had about 6 people following me. I still think I'm a star. And so, but I'm going to tell you something. Pleasantly surprisingly, what they showed me and what I saw, I'm like, if you did this way for everywhere, you might not need a union. I was like, look, I need a job here. Really? Because they look out for those employees. They even had what they call, like, the assembly line. You can be on here, and these people do this every day, going from right to left, pulling something. They say after every 6 months, they swap them on the other side. Oh, good. And they go from right to left. Changing
and that's probably something good, body-wise, physical.
Yes, and when they get older and they've been here a long time with the company, they have loyalty back to that employee, and then they find them a position that they can do that takes them off the strenuous side. Great. Let me tell you something. Great. I asked, and they allowed me to talk to some of them people. They didn't know who I was talking to. I didn't get one complaint from them, and I felt they were genuinely, really telling me the truth. Wow! They said they could not. They give them a raise every year, and depending on the production of their sales, they give them bonuses. They have a cookout once a week. Wow! They feed them once a week.
That's awesome.
And the HR department, I'm like, but they say, well, they don't have nothing against unions, but they just felt they don't really need it because they don't have a complaint. Yeah. But I'm like,
you have good team leads, good management, good supervision. When you have people that's in those positions that need to be in those positions, then you will have good employee morale.
Especially experienced, they take care of their experienced senior people.
And that's really good.
That's what I like.
That's good because you can't do certain jobs
because they have to put out so much. And they don't need anybody to get rid of folks just because I don't like you. Yeah. Or crazy stuff. And they had a good team, and I loved it. So I assured them, said, listen, thank you for the tour. It was wonderful, but I'm only here to perform for you and your family. And so anyway, but we were invited back again, and we went again. They loved us. But I just said that to share because we don't want to knock out unions. Unions are needed because we don't have companies and organization that does that. Yeah. And we don't have but a handful. And so even though here within the city of Atlanta is, in my opinion, that if we can get more departments and get HR on board with labor relations and the unions and train these department heads and new people coming in to understand what the union is about, once we get on board together,
then everything
we
should
would
flow
should
seamlessly.
flow seamlessly.
It should.
Be consistent with stuff.
They should.
And quit trying to bite the hand and being ugly and talking to people any kind of
And
way.
labor relations in private sector, public sector, whatever, they should be so engaged with the departments to make sure things are being handled and done according to the company's policy, because that could keep you from lawsuits.
Exactly.
So you would think, instead of them just saying, hey, I would hope that you guys do this thing. No, make sure that those things are being enforced. Make sure that happens.
And allegedly, not factual, because I don't know the facts on how it trends, I will know.
Mhm.
But lawsuits come out of something may impact our reserves. Could.
Yeah.
Don't know if there's a pot over
It's
here.
coming from somewhere.
It's coming from somewhere.
Somewhere.
And it impacts your money for raises.
It sure will.
And so it's not just for line, but middle supervisors. You going around here, or everybody, you looking for a raise like everybody else. But if we keep getting lawsuits that you don't hear about,
But if you watch city council meetings, you see all the money that they paying out.
they're already dealing with the streets, with people trying to get money for their repairs of the potholes and all other kind of stuff. And then Lord
All
God
that stuff
forbid,
works.
forbid any other personal lawsuits. But when you have employees that's not being treated right, that we failed, and they violated their EOC laws or whatever labor laws, and then they go out and they hire lawyers and sue, and the city, we lose, that costs.
It costs. And you can.
It's a trickle down effect.
Everything connects.
It's a whole connection. And so we just,
It's radio connection.
yeah, radio connections with pay. See how they go? It connects
Everything.
labor and
Everything.
department heads,
Everything.
mayor's office,
Everything.
city council. It connects with employees. That's why we call it radio connections with pay. It's so brilliant. Anyway, I saw this thing on a movie, and I shouldn't say I saw it on a movie, but anyway, it wasn't a movie. It was actually a preview, and I want to see it. Tom Cruise, Top Gun, love it. It's coming up, So anyway, he made a statement in there, and I really thought about that statement, and I'm going to start using that statement.
What is that?
Because I've always said you can't make employees work. You have to empower them, right?
Yep.
Have to empower them to work. But here's another thing. Leaders, you will want to not manage employees.
You can't. That's right.
But you can manage the expectations of the employees.
Okay.
Hot dog, I like that. I can't manage employees, but I can manage the expectations of these employees.
Yep.
And that's a big difference.
It's a huge difference.
Because I'm
You can't
expecting
manage
you.
people.
No, I can't make you do
You
nothing.
can't manage anybody. You cannot manage anybody to do anything.
And see, they got to get that mindset.
But they don't. That's
The vision
a
and the
true
mission.
manager.
Yes.
Knows that. A true manager could know. That's something that you know, because you know people cannot be managed. They can't. But
How many true managers we got? Remember, if you are listening to our podcast, check this out. Put this in your vocabulary or your dictionary in your brain. Figure it out. Because that's a powerful statement.
It is.
Even though that was said on a movie,
it's a good statement.
but I thought about it. I said, I've always been saying you can't make somebody work, you got to empower
You
them.
can't manage them.
But I, as a leader, I can't manage my people.
You can't.
It's my job to manage the expectations
That's it.
that of our mission and our vision.
You empower the people.
And then I empower the people to do the job.
Let me tell you, last week, and I wanted to bring the actual gadget with me. I'll have it next show. But I did an roll call last week for our team's telecommunication. We had to bring the food, we had to do the whole everything, right? So in our roll call, we did 2 games. One of the games was a teammanship game, right? Both of them were. But this one was kind of more like we're gonna learn something out of this one, right? So I had this it was a gadget. When you hold the gadget, it lets the electroid field or whatever, it lights up once it's held on both ends, right? And I'm bringing it next week so you can see it and understand it. But the more people that's connected, and we got in a circle, and both people that was here to here, everybody held together, held hands, even with COVID.
And it was one
gadget, and everybody's holding hands in a circle.
Okay.
So I gave them, and I said, well, I would like someone to say things that from 911 side to your dispatcher side. What would mess up, or what will be less effective when you take the call? What are some things that are not effective, right? One employee said, not showing up to work. I said, okay, so when you do that, raise your hand. So he's in the circle, he raised his hand, right? When he raised his hand, guess what happened?
The light went out.
The light went out. So
that was cool.
We went around the whole room doing effective and non-effective things and raising hands and putting them back. And they saw each time. When I tell you, they came out of that meeting and they just were so, it was because it was talking to people all the time, saying one thing, saying this and saying, that's one thing. But when you show them the effect of you being here with me, and when if you're not here, how that affects the productivity, it makes things happen. It makes sense.
You're so smart. You need to be a trainer.
I
a motivational teacher.
I like to teach, but I can't teach. Nobody wants
to
teach.
You can teach. You just taught me. Because I want to depend. I want a copycat.
I'm gonna bring it next week. I'm gonna bring it.
Anyway,
I'm gonna bring it.
So where are we going? So we can get into.
So we have Apple. We have a lot of.
Oh yeah,
we have a lot of companies now. Their employees are seeing the effectiveness of unions, and they're trying to unionize. So Apple, they're going up to be their employees having a union. They're unionizing right now.
Organizing.
The union needs 30% of about 270 eligible employees at the Grand Central location in order to file with the National NLRB. Want to keep saying this because they might not know what it is. National Labor Relations Board, and it's a key step before filing a union petition. They're organizing a union in Apple's Grand Central Terminal store, and they're seeking minimum pay for all workers to go up to $30 per hour.
Ooh.
So I have a lot of people, when things are going good, they say they want to jump out of the union, or if they go to a different department within the same city, they want to leave the union. The union you need to stick to the union, because the more numbers you have in union, the more people you have on your side, the bigger your voice.
That's right. Your voice. And a lot of times you guys say, when we go, so how many people is in your union? And that's the first thing they want to know. Well, who's your classification of the members? And what's your community of interest? And all of this. And so if I come up there and say, oh, we got 30.
And they say it's 200 people over there?
No,
you can say whatever but they're not.
So that's why we're going that our union, that I as the president have laid down for our future goals in 2022, that every year we're going to do a 30% increase of our overall membership as a goal to increase more membership. Go back up there to a little bit before we get into that. I want to say this too. They are also seeking that we do PACE benefits, including tuition reimbursement, what we just talked about, accessible vacation time, and better retirement option. You remember we went through all of that before, and Mayor Reeves, when he was redesigned the retirement thing. And speaking of retirement, we got to get on some board and get somebody on our podcast to talk about what the city is looking like for retirement.
We need that.
Because everybody's calling us, and I don't even know who's on our board anymore since they fired us, anyway. So that, it determines an Apple employee-led organization committee is collecting these cards to determine the level of unionization to support at the workplace. Because listen, the more people you get in your union, the more they have to be heard. The more you be heard, volume comes with numbers.
Yes, it does.
And we represent that volume, and we will be heard.
Definitely.
So,
definitely.
Because all that.
And one other thing that we need to put a pin in, because I had an employee to ask if who do they contact to, or does the union fight for? They want a daycare, or they either want the city to have a daycare center or give them some type of discount.
We asked for that.
We asked for that.
She's
a new employee. She's very new.
Was it 2 or 3 presentations ago?
About that long ago, and our president, yep, sure did.
So when we go before, just out there to you guys,
Mhm.
out there listening to our
We
podcast.
asked for this stuff. We do.
When we go back before them this year, we're gonna go back to all the presentations of stuff that we asked for
and
and haven't had, or had a discussion, and we're gonna put it back into that, and that will be one of them. We asked about the daycare
yes.
or a discount.
Something. Get partnership with some daycare center or something that's close to the city.
And also
Or
have a
work it
discount.
on site. Have us one on site one.
Well, you know, when
We
that
brought
comes
that up a
with,
long
yeah,
time
yeah,
ago,
that
too.
comes with a lot, but we'll do something for the city, inside the city. And also, I'm even something as small as giving a 10% discount for city employees on lunches. You got all of these vendors around here that wants to get into the city. You got the Subway shop, you got the American Deli, you got all these restaurants, and you go in there with your city badge. I can't even get a free drink with my meal. You know, I mean, it's time for us to partner. And I think maybe Mayor Dickens, now that he's met his 100 days and he's trying to get his priorities, but as we meet with him later on and with council, these are some things we want to look at. I don't know if it's out of his office or would it be another department he has that does stuff like that. But we want to look at it and see if we can partner with some of these vendors and see what can you do for City of Atlanta employees. So let's go back to the letter.
Okay, so we have letters reading you guys. They sent them to Gina, and me, whomever. You want to read this?
I read it. Dear Pace, I have been employed with the city about 8 years now. I love what I do, and I've never had any issues within my department or my work. Recently, there was a discussion and my union affiliation was brought up, just a casual conversation. Since then, I have noticed my management team now acting differently towards me. I have received council forms without union representations, memos and other unprofessional behaviors and statements have been made towards me, directly and indirectly. This has caused a great deal of stress for me and anxiety. I don't want to remove membership with this union, but I'm tired of the harassment. What can you advise me to do? I've seen what this can do to employees and how management can eventually use certain tactics to eventually fire employees. BTW, by the way, grievance forms have been removed from the floor and the person that holds them isn't at work when I am there. Okay, silently. So this is where we come into. First of all, let me say this. As we have spoke all through this podcast today, you have the right in the Civil Service Code of the City of Atlanta. You have the right to have representation. The city recognizes 4 unions. Hear me clear, good, letter writer, if you're listening. PACE, ASLE, FIRE, and IPPO. I think FIRE is IAFF. We are in the code. If you come upon a meeting and that meeting goes into what you feel either uncomfortable or you feel is going into a negative position, dealing with your job duties, your job functions, or steps of progressive discipline, which begins with an oral admonishment, you have that right to stop that meeting and ask for your union representation, and it's called wine garden rights. It is federal, it is state. Wine garden rights. I've sent this out to our membership by letter form so that you'll understand what it means. So if you could remain basically what it's saying, and I'll send it out again. Never forget your union rights on the job. It says, under the Supreme Court's Ryan Garden decision, when an investigative interview occurs, the following rules apply. Now, in our land of progressive disciplinary, once we start investigating, that starts with an oral admonishment, because you have investigated or found some stuff that's not going right, so you say, on this employee. So you call this employee in, and you're not letting this employee have the rights to representation. And what you do not do, which is a federal offense, and we will address that with our union attorneys to get that federal law. You cannot, as we talked about in a few minutes ago in the NLRB, you cannot coerce a member, retaliate against a person, employee that is in the union, where the city is taking dues out of their membership for their membership, and you trying to coerce them or mistreat them. And you know what? I've been turned over about 8 times for being a manager, because there has been brought to me. I have text messages showing where they were saying, I don't need you to be in a union. I need all of you, not part of you. And I told them, take that job and stick it. Because guess what? My calling is about what's right.
Exactly.
And so if it means that you want me to be a manager, I have to come out of the union. You can have that job. Now I'm coming after you.
Yep.
Because you just sit up here and try to coerce me to come out of the union. It's called union busting, people. You got to stop doing that and just open doors. So when that happens to you, caller or a letter writer, here's what we call a grievance form. In this grievance form, you have 2 parts. Now, these forms should be accessible at all times to employees. There should be a space somewhere in your department where this person can go pull a form out at any time. So what you suggested that all supervisors, and I think that's a good suggestion, all supervisors should have a copy are able to give it. But if it's to the supervisor or about the supervisor,
You have to go above that.
you need to get a copy of the grievance. You do not have to tell anybody what your grievance is going to be about until you put it in writing. Let me make that clear again. You don't have to.
I just rewind.
You rewind it. Tell anybody what your grievance is going to be about until you write it up. Now, what you did not know is the first 2 pieces.
That's 3. You missed it.
I'm sorry. The first 2 pieces. See here? The first 2 pieces. One goes to the commissioner's copy, notice of filing. You
Just the notice.
You fill all of this out like this. You fill it all out. And
what does it say? What is the?
It carbons. Let me get there, but it carbons. No, so they understand. It carbons down. But the first one says, employee grievance form in red, commissioner's copy, notice of filing. The second half of the paper says, employee grievance form, Bureau of Labor Relations copy, notice of filing. So when you get ready to file and write this out and do whatever your resolve, you put your name, who you're being represented by. If it's PACE, you put PACE in your union rep, and what your resolve, what it is that you want, what the problem is. If you have to put it on another piece of paper, you can say, see attached, attach it, or it can be short and written right here. What are the problems? Then they want to resolve. What will satisfy you to fix or remedy this?
And you cannot ask for anybody's job.
No.
You can say C, whatever the disciplinary action for these things, but we cannot ask for
They want to be
termination.
terminated.
That's not something that is a resolve.
That's not a resolve.
No.
But we can.
You
But
don't-
anyway,
No. not
go
really.
ahead. And so then you tear this off. You tear both of these pieces of paper off like such. And you send this to where they go. These 2 right here. These
You
2 pieces.
physically have to take
do.
them to HR.
Or you can, where
Or-
it becomes electronic, we
Well,
can send it to them.
when it's electronic, you can just.
But with our union being in the union, we can also help you with this. So you don't actually have to physically do it. We can send it to them.
Yes.
However, we'll electronically send it to them.
But
Now,
you do not have to
can-
fill any more out because that's what you've written on here is already.
It's already on that form.
Yes.
It should be anyway. And so if it's commissioner for right now, with your chief, that person would be Chief Bryant or Chief whomever is in charge of for E911. That means the head dog over E911, not the director, the commissioner. So the commissioner level would be the chief or or the assistant chief. I hope y'all understand that. The other one goes to labor relations. City of Atlanta Labor Relations. Now, once you've done that, all that is doing is just putting them on notice that there's a grievance coming through the channels.
Yes.
The purpose of the grievance is to say what is going on that's grievable. Then hopefully at each setting, the first part goes immediately to your supervisor, immediate supervisor, number 1.
Unless.
Hold on, let me get there. Goes to your immediate supervisor. And hopefully that supervisor is supposed to call you in the office and let's talk about this. At each level, there should be a communication meeting. And if they don't resolve it, you don't like the resolve, it goes to the next. They put down here what they saying, your supervisor, and it goes to the next level, number 2, which is your division unit or your supervisor, and so forth. They should be calling you in and talking about, what's going on, how we can fix it. If y'all don't come to an agreement, it goes to the 3rd level, which is your bureau director. Now for E911, I believe that would be your director. All right, your director. If you all, then that meeting should take place as well. And if you all do not come to an agreement, and then it goes to the 4th, which would be the department head commissioner, which if for E911 would be considered the chief or the assistant chief, whoever's in place. Now, at that point, if you still cannot come to a decision or agreement, win-win, that's when labor relations is communicated with. They've already got their notice that there's a grievance on file. And the way it used to be, past historical practices, they wouldn't date whatever when this come through, and they would follow up or keep up with all the grievances because they would mark down how many grievances for a department. So this will be told in the personnel briefing when it comes about. That's where it used to be when I first started. And so now, the point that Ebony was getting ready to make, if at the beginning of your grievance, it's about your supervisor, it does not go to your supervisor. It goes to the next step, which would be the next person in line, number 2. Okay, let's remember that, because number 2 has to talk with you about what's going on here, and you guys determine how you want to make that happen, and then you continue to move forward. Now, it is the employee's responsibility, not the person that you send in the grievance form to. It is the employee's responsibility to ensure you pick this paper up and you move it to the next level. If they don't call you in for a meeting and they don't give it back to you, it gives you the timeline at the bottom of when they should have this completed and for you to pick it up. Now, if they're still working on it and they need more time, they can send you an email in writing asking for an extension. And you can either say yes or you can say no. And so that's how it works. Now, the last caveat, if you go to labor relations, it gets that far and you still don't have a win-win that you want, then the union will help you ask for a civil service hearing. That is the process of this grievance. So if you all out there listening on this podcast, going back and looking at it late and have questions, please just reach out to me at Ebony. The union, if you're in the union, we will do our best to help you fulfill what you need to do, give you direction on this, so that you can do. Grievances are a very serious matter.
And what we've noticed is that people have been missing these 2 steps.
And so that's causing
they haven't been getting them. So when you're saying nothing's being done, nobody else on the outside knows, because these haven't been taken anywhere.
So if you're a PACE member, I am asking that you all allow PACE, that you pay your dues to, ask you to communicate with us and let us help you begin your grievance process so that you can meet all criteria and eligibility on the correct processes of filing a grievance.
And please, as members, never enter a room, a setting where there's a meeting and you do not have your representation with you.
Never, ever, ever
Don't
do
it.
that.
I know sometimes we have a younger generation where they just want everything right now and immediately. Patience.
We want to be
reps.
We want to be
Just be
before the 8 ball,
Yeah.
not behind it.
And if you jump in that meeting by yourself, nobody knows what you're going to say. You might hem yourself up and then you come back and say you need representation. It's kind of almost late.
You just, like going to court.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not going to go before a judge without a lawyer.
Yeah.
Because you think, oh, I can handle this and get in there and get ate all up.
And a lot, they always say, oh, well, they won't treat me like this because they're my friend. In the meeting setting, when it's a disciplinary situation, that person is a whole different person. Their business. They become business then.
It ain't about friendship
It's
no
no
more.
friends. No friends
It's
in
about
that
I's dotted and T's crossed
and they want to make sure
and
that that's done.
documentation.
And if you don't have your documentation, I tell employees now, the first sight of somebody retaliating against you, any issues, any problems, I don't care how small it is, how big it is, whatever the situation is, start documentation at that moment. Because you best believe that somebody's starting it on you. And if they submit theirs before you start yours, then it's going to look like you're upset and now you're retaliating. If you start in the beginning, before it becomes too big, you can nip it in the bud when it's still tiny.
And let me make a disclaimer. Now I'm thinking about it. What this discussion on grievances is not specifically to E911. This process is citywide.
Yeah.
This process, what I was referring to was
We use
because it
different type
says
of people.
because of the commissioner,
Mhm.
you have a different type of classification
Mhm.
in the communication center. But they basically is the same.
Fire that way too.
Fire's the
They
same
use
way.
they use their fire chief as their
Right. The commissioners for non-civilian, non-sworn is what that runs the departments, and in sworn you have chiefs, but they're on the same level. So this grievance form is the same for all city employees, sworn, non-sworn. It's just a matter of the classification title. So let me make that very clear. It's just not for E911. But we want to make sure that this is going to be electronically for everybody real soon, so that there won't be no right on April the 27th. Paces asked, can we get this electronically done so that we can always have a date and time stamp?
Yes. Let me break down. We did not read all of it.
Okay, go ahead and break down Weingarten.
Rule number 1, you have employees, whoever employee could be management with their team. You have the right to a union steward or union representative present. And you have the right to speak privately with your representative before the meeting and during the meeting. Your steward has the right to play an active role in the meeting and is not just a witness.
Right.
You must make clear for your union representation before or during the interview. Management is not obligated to inform you of your right or your right to representation. So you need to know this. Sometimes the managers don't know. If your manager refuses to allow you to bring a representative, do not refuse to attend the meeting, but do not answer any questions further.
Oh,
take notes. Once the meeting is over, call your representative at once. Rule number 2, her phone is on.
Go ahead.
After you make the request, your supervisor or manager can do one of 3 things. They can grant you the request and delay question until your union representative arrives and have a chance to consult with you privately. Or they can deny your request and end the interview immediately. So if they deny your request, the interview stops. Or they can give you a choice of having an interview without your union rep, or again, end the interview. Rule number 3, if your request for union representation is denied and your manager or supervisor continues to ask you questions, he or she is committing an unfair labor practice and you have the right to refuse to answer. Your manager or supervisor may not discipline you for such refusal. And remember recently we just had one, an employee that was a letter from last week, but that employee stated that they were told that they did not need union representation at this stage, and they continued to ask and ask and ask and ask, and finally she answered the question. Even after she said that, but she felt like she didn't know, but she called us afterwards and we said, you shouldn't have said anything. So don't say anything. What does it say?
So let's read the chat. Okay. It says, I know someone that is really going through something serious with their supervisor and their supervisor's manager as well. Do you speak with or give advice to individuals that is not a member of PACE?
We've been having these all weekend too.
Listen. We cannot, me being a colleague of all city employees, because I'm a city employee, I don't have a problem if you call me for advice, but the only thing I do is give you one-time advice. We cannot represent you or speak for you on your behalf if you're not a member. And the reason so being is two things. One, it's not fair to members that do pay dues, that we are servicing folks that are not dues paying members, are not in the union. And number two, if your situation escalates higher that needs to go to a civil service hearing or it becomes a legal aspect, we have paid attorneys on our union staff and paid representatives that if it gets beyond my relationship building or being able to help you, they will be on call to service you and take over your case.
And that's not fair.
And they're not going to, the attorneys are not going to do it if you're not on our dues listing. So what we do is encourage you. We're the cheapest union around right now. $16 every payroll check is $32 a month per se. But for $16, if you feel you are having some issues or might feel like you're going to have some issues, you need to join immediately. The way you join is send Ebony or I an email, gpacknada@atlantaga.gov, request an application. Once you complete it and send it back to me, and I sign my name on that application or approve it as the president, you're immediately a member, even before your dues start. So if that person really needs some situational help, I would encourage you to have them reach out to us to get on board, because I would hate to see that we could fix something for them before they try to fix it themselves. But we need to be ahead of the game. Don't wait till things come down the road and now you want to join and now you want to come in, because a lot of times if it's beyond me, they will not take cases after the fact. Okay. So I hope that answers the question.
And thank you for the question. That's a really
yes,
good question.
absolutely. And joining union again is the best $16 that you can spend. If you smoke cigarettes, if you smoke, I don't condone it, but if you smoke whatever, cut out one of those a month so you can pay for your union dues. If you drink alcohol like that Amaretta she talked about pretty early, cut out of all of that for a month and pay for your dues.
No, she doesn't drink.
No, I don't drink. But anyway, so it's about what you need and what you want, and you make that sacrifice.
Yep.
So I hope that you all learn, and we need to go back through this process of grievances next week. We will do so. Okay. Can he become a member while going through his issues? Right now, if he's going through it, he needs to join immediately.
Yes.
When we get off this podcast, reach out. My number right now, if you don't know my number, is 678. You can go ahead and put the number in there, 678-414-8982. Give me a call, and we'll see how we can send you application to get to this person. And also remember, all of you out there, if you email address is gpacknada@atlantaga.gov. And if you do get someone to join the union, there is a bonus enrollment that our national gives out for $50 per application. So that's something to think about. gpacknada@atlantaga.gov.
I can't see. I messed up mine.
Yeah, you must see. She can't even type.
I can't see.
But yeah, send it out to that person and get in touch with us, and so we can get started immediately to assist that employee. Okay. And please put the word out to to join PACE. PACE is, they say, well, what's the difference between another union and PACE that's in the city?
PACE works for the employees. It really do. It works for the employees. I remember before I came on with PACE years ago, I went looking for PACE for unions for the city of Atlanta, and I couldn't find one. It was hard to get with PACE. Finally, I left a message, and that message, it touched her, obviously, we'll say that. But it wasn't a real nice message. But I couldn't get in touch with anybody, and I was kind of like fed up. So finally, she reached out, and 6 months later, I was on the team.
Yeah.
I wasn't just a member. I was really on the team. And we still need more people on the team that is not afraid of the fight, because it is a fight.
It's a challenge.
It's a champ.
It's a challenge. It's a challenge.
It's a fight challenge.
Fight challenge.
Yeah.
Good
Challenge fight.
I love challenges.
Yeah.
So,
But it is.
and then again, I like to say this part. What's the difference between PACE and another union? What do you mean? They don't have Ebony or Jada.
That's right.
So
We're not
anyway,
there.
yes, KT, thank you. Thank you so much. Please pass on the info and give them my information, and so we can get that person, see what's going on with that person. Because I guarantee you, if that person is having an issue, somebody else in the area
Always.
is having an issue.
Always.
We just been, because of pandemic and all of us being in the changing of the guards of leaderships everywhere, we just been kind of just like, we're like, no pun intended, but we're all like children without parents, left at home, and we're just going wild. So now that we got some leadership in place, we're waiting on them to embellish and embrace and bring it back in, get some structure, get us back to some vision and missions, put some qualified people in place to lead, and make connections with PACE, radio connections with PACE, and so that we can work in partnership and in solidarity and make these employees and the city citizens whole again.
That's correct.
So with that, we appreciate you all as always coming on our podcast. And remember that as we bring today's show to an end, we went over a little time, but it was very important that we give this to you. We anticipate that we've been a beacon of hope to some of you, also entertaining, and have been able to shed some light on all things in the city that you're listening to. We thank you for tuning in to Radio Connections with PACE, where it all comes together. Tune in next week as we will continue the good fight and the challenges and be a part of bringing the good back to the city. And you are welcome to share this episode, City of Atlanta. And if you're not a subscriber already, what you waiting on, Evan?
A subscriber. But don't be left in the dark. City of Atlanta employees, please do not be left in the dark. Join Radio Connections with PACE again, where it all comes together. Stay up to date on all city news or what we do have. If you are not a member of this elite organization, again, it's PACE, Professional Association for City Employees. Join now. You can send an electronic email, and we'll send you an electronic application. Member dues, again, are $16 per pay period, and it is the best $16 that you will spend. We thank you again for listening to Radio Connections with PACE, where it all comes together, and we will see you again next week from 1 to 2 with more city news.
Before you shut out, though, one more thing. Next week, we're going to try to get one of our national executive officers to come on and talk to you about the scholarship that our national office is giving.
Oh, within next month.
Well, for about, the deadline next month. It's 3 scholarships for members and the family members. So we're going to try to get Mr. Kevin Doyle on next week for a few minutes to let you know what kind of scholarships is out there. If you're interested, how to get an application. And we've had a couple of people that got some scholarships. So.
And we want to get the public safety, the meeting that we bring in this morning. I attended to this morning.
Okay.
You know his name. We want to get him on the show.
What public safety guy? Chris Brown.
Safety.
What?
The safety.
The
safety.
citywide safety. The one that you set in for me because I missed it. I was too busy challenging some folks. But anyway,
challenge like that. That's how you
challenge some folks. When I be at home, you should see me when I be at home, right? You know, and I'm on when I have these meetings in the evening or early in the morning, and they can't see me, but I be walking and back and forth, you know, and I be doing all of this, like, but listen, you know, and then, but I be on the money, okay, respectfully. So anyway, the citywide safety chairperson, Mr. Graham, we'll have him.
Yes, I like him. He had a lot to say, and he talks about safety around citywide. So some of the jobs requires safety, all of them right now. Really.
And PACE has a seat on that table, on that committee, because that is a platform that PACE some years ago, under the direction of the COO, Ms. Duria at the time, we birthed that program, and it's came by. We finally got a good committee lead chair, and we'll work with them in solidarity as well. So you guys, thank you. And we will see you next week. Godspeed. Be safe. Hey, stuff is still out there.
Wear your mask.
Wear your mask.
Wear your mask.
Wash your hands. Social distance if you can. Take care, everybody.
See you next week. Have a good
Bye-bye.
one.